But when I was 19, and that I was out of high school, and so that year I played Santa Claus for the little kids, and so when I was little, I only got one thing. We'd get one or two nice things, you know. And so
that was when you got the doll you told me about previously, right?
Got a bride doll for Morna. I got a bride doll for Shirley, and I got a little car that you could drive for Denny, and got a bicycle for Dwayne. No, for Norman.
No worries.
I got okay, let me start again. My brother says you're stupid.
You're not stupid.
Well, because my brain's all in a fog. And so, anyway, so it was bride doll for Morna, a little car for Dwayne, no, for Denny, and a bicycle for Keith. And so, so they were just absolutely thrilled to death with those things. And so, then on New Year's Day, I was baking some pies. And I remember I was baking a pumpkin pie, and Keith came in, and I don't know, I can't say it was pumpkin, I don't know what it was.
You were pretty good to be able to bake a pie as a teenager.
I was just baking pies, yeah. Well, and we learned to work early back in those days. And so anyway, Keith came in and says, "Hey, you got to come and try my new bike." And I said, "Okay, I will." And I'd been riding a bicycle forever, you know, no problem. And so I went out and took his bike while the pie was baking. And I told Mother, watch it so it don't burn. And so I took off, and I'm just riding around having a great time. And now our house, it said, okay, like this is flatland up here, but you have to drive up to it. And the drive up to it is like from the wall to where I am.
So there was a long drive to get
the driveway part, trying to get into the drive. Oh my goodness! And then the house is there. No, I mean it wasn't that big a deal. It was the road that they used to drive the car in and stuff. And so it was a gravel road. And so I'm coming in there, and the wheel was caught by a rock or something or other. And it went like that, just instantaneously. And when it did, it caught my foot and took my foot around with it.
So flipped your foot around backwards.
So I could feel these hands, just as plain as that, locked around my hand and around my foot and putting it back in place.
Wow.
And I turned around and looked, and there wasn't any hand there. And because at the time, it was so plain that I thought it was Daddy putting my foot back in place. All the faith of a child, you know. But I mean, I wasn't a little child. I was, for heaven's sake, I was 18 at the time.
Well, that's still considered a child these days.
Yeah, and so, anyway, then they called in the hospital. How in the world I could have thought there was not a problem is, but anyway, they brought somebody called an ambulance, and so they started putting me in this ambulance, and I quoted something that I'd heard somebody else say, I'm sure, and I says, I don't want to get in an ambulance till I'm dead and have to be hauled away. And he says, it's better to be sure than sorry, young lady, and in that ambulance I went. And so then the big bone, or if it was both bones, I can't remember, that has been there to about 72 years ago.
That was around 70 years ago?
72 years ago.
72?
Yeah.
Ooh. So that would have been in the late 30s, early 40s-ish?
No, it was when it would have been, see, I was born in 37.
Oh, okay.
47. I graduated in 55. So this would have been in January of 1956.
Wow.
Okay. And so, anyway, so I was in the hospital and I was there for a long time. I think like a week or 10 days or something. And one night, everybody from church, they all just came to visit me for the time at MIA, and lined up all around my bed and stuff. And I found out I had a lot of friends, but that it wasn't worth it. I mean, to find it out that way. But anyway, then when I went to the hospital to have it examined by, the second time. I mean, after it had been cast, and it was, something that's funny.
What?
You're going to be playing that thing, and you're going to say, you have to remember Grandma was really groggy that day. She couldn't think of anything.
Well, you've been doing remarkably well.
The equivalency of period or pregnancy brain, right?
Yeah. So anyway, I went back to the hospital for a checkup, of course. This was after 6 weeks. I had to be in a cast for 6 weeks, and I had a job, so I worked. And it was weird to have a cast on one foot and a high heel shoe on the other foot.
Ooh.
But it balanced it out, so it was easy.
I guess the cast must have been pretty thick at that time.
Well, the ones that cast usually are kind of thick anyway.
True. I was thinking of the high heels are like this big.
No, they just built it up. It just had a walking thing on it.
So like the regular working shoes at the time.
No. It
So,
looked
you
like,
know those high heel shoes that I'd like to wear?
Yeah, that's
No.
what I was meaning.
girls, it was just a cast.
Yeah.
It was just wrapped around, and it looked like my foot, except bigger.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But anyway, so then I was at the hospital, and I was waiting to be seen. And so the girl that's sitting by me wanted to know what happened to me. And I told her briefly. And she said, boy, the same thing happened to me. And man, I cussed up Blue Streak. I did this and this and this. And they had to re-break her foot and put it back in place. So I guess that the approach I had about praying was a lot better than cussing, because it paid big time.
Heavens, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, anyway.
And the fact they were blessed that an angel was able to put her foot back into place so it wasn't going to be any worse.
Because those, I don't know which angel it was, but there was somebody with their hands around my foot and just put it right exactly back in place. No pain whatsoever.
That's
I
amazing.
think you had adrenaline going at that time.
True.
Well, there was something going.
Well,
but-
Grandma, you had something equivalent to the. You remember the show Ephraim's Rescue in 17 Miracles?
Yeah.
I'd say it's equivalent to that.
Yeah.
With that, right?
Yeah.
Still some of my favorite Sabbath shows of all time.
I really like it.